deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
And we are here for Lions Nation Unite live show. We're going to be talking about quite a few things. TJ Hockenson contract. We're going to do some QA. And I'm here with my main guy, Anthony, from Roar of the Lions UK. What's going on, Anthony?
Hey Mike, good to be on here with you. I always look forward to these shows. Thanks for having us on as always. It's nice to be able to do something over here. We're suffering a little bit of a heat wave at the minute, and it's really hot. It's really bothered. It's just nice for me to come on and do something, take my mind off it. Can't wait to chat some Lions with you.
Hey, yeah, you're dealing with a heat wave. That's definitely crazy. It's hot here in the state of Michigan too. You can get a little more sleep going a little bit early. I think that works. And I'd like to jump in my swimming pool a little bit today, so why not go early? So I know a lot of people is going to be like, what the hell is going on? That's what's going on. What's going on, Nine Drinks? What's going on, Go Lions? What's going on, John Doe? And Mark Orem may be in the building. He's having some technical difficulties. We'll see from there. So the latest / news, rumors, whatever you want to call it, is that the Detroit Lions are prioritizing signing tight end TJ Hockenson. What is your initial thoughts on this, Anthony?
I mean, it's something that needs to be done. There's a lot of uncertainty at the minute, obviously, as to what maybe a deal is going to look like for him. But as far as my opinion on it goes, I do really want us to sign him. I know he's had issues with injury. I know he's had issues, with blocking aspects of his game a little bit, but we've seen just how invaluable he can be in the red zone as a receiving threat, kind of what we drafted him for, really, to be that offensive threat for us. I hope we can get a deal done with him. Obviously, again, how it looks, I don't know. I see a lot of people saying that they think he's going to get 14, 15 million a year. It's going to be a big thing, but I think TJ's sensible. I think he knows his production here has been okay, but not amazing. I think that he knows he's been injured and there's been some inconsistencies there, and I also trust Brad Holmes to come up with a deal for him which will work for both the team and the player. He did it with Charles Harris. He did it with Tracy Walker. They both probably could have got extra money elsewhere, but you give them the incentives to be able to go on and make some good money with us, then I like that deal. So, there's a lot of unknowns here. I just hope that we can find a nice little point with him where we get a good deal, he gets a good deal, he continues to be a Lion, he stays healthy, he balls out, and he can be the top 5 tight end that we know he can be.
Let me know in the comment section right now, do you want the Detroit Lions to re-sign TJ Hockenson before the season starts? Just like the reporting said, that they would like to get this deal done, and they're making a priority. Let me know in the comment section. Y for yes and for no. I am here with Anthony, apparently my twin, right now, as we are both bald with headsets on, talking next to each other. It's kind of funny to look at. Make sure you follow him on Roar_UK and on the YouTube channel, Roar of the Lions UK. A lot of good content going on there. TJ Hockenson, look, I wanted to wait after the season. I get it that they want to get the deal done. The contract is going to be high, obviously, for TJ Hockenson. It's going to be a top 5 tight end contract. I just hope that when he gets it, he can produce well for the Lions and stay on the field, be consistent, be that dominant offensive player we need him to be. We drafted him 8th overall a couple years ago to be the man offensively, to be a big part of this offense. So he needs to stay on the field and produce. Not really a lot of excuses this year. We do got weapons around him, so he should have opportunities to get mismatches, and Jared Goff should get him the football, and we'll see what he can do. Are you looking for like maybe a 4 to a 5 year deal or maybe a shorter deal? What do you think on this one?
Personally, for me, I'm with you. I would like it to have been next year because I'd like a little bit more clarification on just how good he's going to be, whether he can stay healthy. These are big questions when it comes to giving him a long-term deal. For me now, I would like it to be sort of in the 3-year range with a good amount of incentives in there for him to be able to earn some good money. And then we can sort of, give him a really good deal a little bit later down the line in a couple of years when hopefully he's had some time with us. I do think we need to protect ourselves just a little bit because we've got a lot of injured players on our side coming back from injuries, coming back from inconsistent play, and we saw with the last regime they handed out lots of money to players who didn't deserve it. And I'm not saying TJ doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying I think we need a little more clarification on what he's going to do. So I prefer the deal right now just to be a little shorter. Unless they do a long-term deal and it's for a bit better money, a bit less money over a longer deal. But yeah, I prefer it to be shorter.
We're going to see if this works, folks. Mark.
Yeah?
Yeah!
Okay.
Hey! We got Mark Orem in the building. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I had to do a little bit of tinkering with some things. Hopefully, I guess that worked. Hopefully, it sticks.
It absolutely worked, and I am really appreciative that you got it to work.
Yeah,
You went hardcore on this computer and this audio, folks. If you don't know, he sounds like a robot. We had to work on he had to work on these issues, and now he is here to talk some great Detroit Lions. Mark, what do you think about this story that we heard the Lions are prioritizing tight end TJ Hockenson's contract?
Prioritizing? Yeah, okay. With TJ, we got a really good tight end in TJ Hockenson, but this is a guy that I think he needs to show a little bit more. He's probably a top 10 tight end in the NFL. That's really not really a question right there. He has the talent. And if you go back and you look at some of his games missed, it's not a big margin. He averages probably maybe about 3 games a year missed, even if you're going to do the average for the 3-4 years he's been in the league. But I think we need to see a little bit more from TJ. He was a first-round pick, top 10 pick. I think this is the type of offense that kind of hoping he can gel into. I know him and Jared Goff got some chemistry going last year. So let's just, let's just see what he can do this year. I want him to stay healthy. I just want him to stay healthy, get those yak up, and we'll see what happens there.
Apparently, you have to be bald to be on this panel today. We got hey, we're repping 3 different countries as well. We got the UK, we got America, and Canada. So this one's an interesting panel today.
International, baby, international.
We're going international today, but all we need to do is Mark remove his glasses, get a headset, and we're a bunch of we're going.
Yeah.
We're going all the way here today. So what's up, Ken Strouder? What's up, Debo? What's up, 9 Drinks? Forbidden Knowledge. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and we're going to get this thing going. There's a report out there, or at least an article, saying there's 3 players potentially that could be cut casualties. You had Michael Brockers, Will. You got our guy, Will Harris, and the other one was Jared Davis. What do you think about this list of 3, Anthony? Do you think that these guys could potentially not make the 53-man roster, or do you disagree with some of these articles?
It depends. There's a little bit of everything. I disagree completely with Michael Brockers. I don't want to see him traded or cut. I don't want to see that because you look at the depth in the defensive tackle room at the minute. Obviously, Aleem will hopefully be a starter this year, but Levi's coming back off an injury-ridden season. Josh Pascal has his own injury issues that he's come into this team with. There's not a great deal of depth there for the season. And obviously, defensive tackle is one of those positions where, you need the rotation in there because it's a lot of, it's a lot of bigger pounding that you take while you're in there. You need those guys in, and to be honest, he's the veteran presence as well. You got a lot of rookies in there, and I still subscribe to the fact that he is a good presence in that room. And I just believe that, again, like Anzalone was with Collins, he was dragged down by the guy who was playing next to him, who was absolutely useless at defensive tackle. He's got some good guys in with him this year, so I don't want to see him gone at all. I mean, Harris, I don't care. At this point, I don't believe in all this safety malarkey about him. I think we've got a lot of talent at corners. He doesn't need to be taking snaps off them. I mean, if you want a depth safety, that's fine, but I'm hit and miss. And then Jared Davis is the same. Obviously, training camp's coming up. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, because, again, a lot of the linebackers are rookies or special teams guys from other teams we've got. So I think there's a legitimate battle in there. If he can win a place in that side, then fine. I don't really care, because it is a room without depth at the minute, and we need the best guys to make it. So, it's a little bit of everything. Brockers, not a chance. I want him on the team. The other two, they're going to have to fight their way in.
We got the veteran here himself, and that is Mark Orm from Orm's Forum. What do you think about that list of 3 of potential players that may not make the 53/55?
Yeah, like I would like to see Brockers on this team stick around. He's that vet presence, like UK said. You're not going to get really, I don't think, a crazy production out of Brockers, but he is that vet presence. We have a fairly pretty young defensive line. I think he brings that leadership. He's been there before. He's a Dan Campbell type guy. He just brings that vet presence that we need, to at least mentor some of these young guys like Aleem and at least Levi. And with a guy like Will Harris, right now he's our number 2 cornerback. So, I kind of want to see a little bit more. Like I know the Dan Campbell called him that safety, and it's a little bit of a, it's a little ridiculous. But he is our number 2 right now. Now, Jeff Okuda has been working his butt off. Can he retain that number 2? Hopefully he can. But Will Harris has got a little bit of versatility to him. I'm not the biggest Will Harris fan. I don't think anybody really is. But he did play a little bit better at corner for our Detroit Lions. And then the third guy was who again, Mike?
We had Michael Brockers, Jared Davis, and Will
Jared
Harris.
Davis. Okay, Jared Davis. This guy's got one foot out the door already, I think. His contract kind of speaks volumes. I think he's going to need to at least stand out in special teams. You're not going to see Jared Davis out there in coverage or anything like that. He's strictly going to play on rundowns, maybe some blitzing here and there. But I think safety is where he's going to need to really make his mark. And I wouldn't really be surprised if Jared Davis gets cut. I think that guy's going to be probably cut by the time the season rolls around.
As you can tell, folks, there is a glitch in the Matrix right now. My twin across the pond, he keeps glitching in and out. It's hilarious. It's all because he's got a heat wave going on, and it is hot over there. It's also hot here in Michigan, almost 90 degrees, and I love it. I love the heat. So don't think that something crazy is going on. It's simply a heat wave. Where are you guys from? Let me know in the comment section. I see Melbourne, Florida. I'm from Holland, Michigan. I am from the great state of Michigan, but on a different part, opposite side of Detroit. Let me know in the comment section where you guys are from. Now, I'm with you, Anthony Foley. I agree with 100% what you said there. Michael Brockers, veteran. We got a young team. We need to have someone of age. And it's pretty crazy to think that a 31-year-old is old, considering the fact that I'm 37. And that's not old, really, but that's our veteran right there, 31 years old. Keep the guy on there. Help groom these young players. There's nothing wrong with that. Herman Moore stated himself, sometimes you got to have, you got to have good coaches, but sometimes you got to have players that are a good coach as well, a good person to learn from. Will Harris, he did play much better at cornerback position than he did safety. There is, like Anthony said, a lot of talent at the corner position, younger talent, and that could be a cost savings move. Saving a little bit on the cap, cutting Will Harris could be an option for Lions. I mean, you got Melifonwu out there, you got Okuda, Amani Warrior. You just go down the list, Jared Jacobs, so I could see that for sure. And Jared Davis, yeah, if they want to go younger, and there's teams out there like the Dallas Cowboys, depth at linebacker is insane. So someone's good is going to be cut. And maybe the Lions would like to pick up some younger talent from another team. It's very possible. We got Keeping It Brock. David is cheap. Deerfield Beach, Florida. Central Michigan, Altori. Lake City, Michigan, Mike Bell. We got Chrome from Northern Michigan. Appreciate it. Let me know where you guys are from. Is there any other player, Anthony, you think that should be potentially on the cut list or the bubble list out there that maybe fans don't know about?
Well, I can't say no, because if people watch my podcast, and some of them do, they know my views on Julian Aquara. I think he should be on the bubble. I think there are issues with health with him and consistency of play. And, I go back to the time we got burned by Deshaun Hand. We saw how talented he was. We saw that, in flashes, he was a great player, and we just sort of spent year after year after year trying to, justify keeping him just to hope that he got good one day, and it never happened. And I'm sort of getting that feeling again with him, and I don't want to get burned by it again. And I think our edge room now is pretty good. We've got young guys coming in James Houston. You've even got guys like Bryant in there who can give you some production as well. And, it'd be a hard decision, but for me, I think he's on the bubble because I don't know where he plays. I don't think he plays outside linebacker. I don't think that's his forte against the run, doing that sort of thing. So it will be unpopular, but just for me, I'm just fed up of having players who are injured all the time and just don't show it consistently. We need to have consistently fully firing players if this team is ever going to move forward. And we're going to have to make some difficult decisions with some of them eventually.
That's an interesting player to talk about, Julian Aquara. I've been talking about him like you so far this offseason as well. It's like, where does he really stand on this team? Linebacker, edge, defensive line? Don't really know. What is a player, Mark Orem, for you that potentially could be on the bubble?
I think a guy like maybe wide receiver Trinity Benson. I'm not really buying the hype that there's going to be that big of a camp battle between Benson and Cephas. I think Cephas already came out here last year and showed that he can at least contribute in a positive way. I really like Cephas. He seems like a pro's pro. He ended up getting hurt, obviously, for us, and it kind of hurt Jared Goff, and didn't really know who he was going to throw to last year. But the Benson thing, Brad Holmes went out and made. I think it was a premature decision to go get a guy like Benson. Got a couple late picks that they gave up, got one back though in return for Benson. I think he was a little bit desperate to do that. I don't really know if Brad Holmes is going to be. Hopefully he doesn't, and I'm sure this is not going to happen. Hope it's not like an ego thing where they really, really want to give this kid a shot. They let go of Cephas and he goes somewhere and he kind of plays a lot better than he did here, obviously. So I could see a guy like Trinity Benson, man. I think he's really going to need to show out in training camp to beat Cephas. And this is a good wide receiving room. I believe it's improved dramatically, and I think Benson's in a lot of trouble here, to tell you the truth.
One aspect about being on LNU live show is underrated. Right now, to me, there's two YouTubers with me that their channels are extremely underrated. First off, Roar of the Lions UK. I love what they're doing. They go live. They went live yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. Your guys' time zones are a little bit different. And it was absolutely amazing, the conversation talking about the linebacking core. I threw a question in there, and their answers were very specific, as well as getting into nitty-gritty detail. Make sure every one of you subscribe to their channel. We got to get this channel blowing up. Same with Mark Orem, underrated channel. Subscribe to these guys' channels immediately because training camp is right around the corner. Then you got the regular season, then the off season. These guys are killing it with prospects. They're killing it with Lions content. Subscribe to their channels. You can find their channels in the featured tab of channels. Roar to Lions UK and Mark Orem from Orem's Forum. So get it done. Talk about underrated. What is an underrated player right now for the Detroit Lions? It doesn't necessarily have to be a big name, but somebody that's kind of seeping under the radar, Anthony, that potentially could make an impact more than people think?
See, I've always been the biggest fan of Aleem McNeil since we drafted him, and I did our coverage on him. I looked at his college tape. I looked at the guy, how he has progressed. And, the one thing we've needed for a long time is a guy who's effective against the run in the middle, someone who's going to plug that hole in there, who's really going to bring the fight. That we've not seen in there for a long time, maybe since, we had Ndamukong Suh and Fairley here. And what I saw from him last year, I know he didn't sort of jump off the page with some of the bits he did. The snap counts were low to start, but as the season went on, the snaps got better. I watched him very closely as he was playing. He was starting to dominate more in his matchups there. He actually had more of a pass rush on him than I gave him credit for. He got quite a few pressures on the quarterback last year, and that's not something he really did too much of in college. But, just as the season went on, I saw more and more progress from him there. And again, sort of working with guys there in the middle who weren't helping him in the slightest. But I think coming into this season, I think Brockers is going to do well with him. We've got more young talent in there. We've got a more balanced defensive line now, especially on the edge, because they were getting left on their own last year and getting a hide in. They were all getting double teamed. There was very little chance for them to do anything. But just the way I saw him develop very quietly, and you see him in the off season, he's putting a little bit more weight. He's hungry. I think we're going to see something really special from him this year, especially now that Aiden Hutchinson's on the edge. We're going to have Harris. We're going to have Aquara out there. They're going to be, teams are going to have to command more attention out there on the edges and to some of these other interior guys. And I think Aleem's going to take advantage. And I think you'll notice it in a big way this year. I'm really hoping this defensive line makes a big impact against the run this year, especially with how much we've invested in it and the type of linebackers we've got playing behind him. I think it's suited perfectly. We've got a lot of blitzers in, so get him opening up those holes, start blitzing your linebackers aggressively. Aleem's going to be a very key piece this year.
That was a of an answer. When you have a great answer and it's just spelled out, ultra combos got to come out. I love Aleem McNeil as well. I never forget when getting drafted. After he got drafted by Levi, everybody said, why are we getting another defensive tackle? Poo-pooed the draft pick. Ends up being pretty good for the Lions. Mark Orem, what is an underrated player for you?
An underrated player, I think, maybe I'll pick Craig Reynolds. I think, the running back Craig Reynolds, the guy that we picked up during the season. Nobody knew who he was. He literally had to introduce himself, became Netflix and chill, and had a couple really nice games for the Detroit Lions at running back. We got two running backs that I really like, though, in DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams, I think, is pretty much on a contract year right now. And DeAndre Swift has, we're not worried about the talent with DeAndre Swift, we're worried about the health. And Jamal Williams actually got hurt too. Craig Reynolds came in and had a couple nice games. I think he even rushed for 100 yards in at least one or two games. He does everything well. He's another guy that's a pro's pro that's been bounced around in a couple teams. He's definitely a guy that I'm not really hoping that we see a lot of Craig Reynolds because I want to see Swift and Jamal Williams do well. But I think it's a guy that if, injuries happen, it's a guy that can step right in again. I think he's going to be really good for this football team. He's got a good O-line. He does everything well that you want him to do. He blocks well. He runs hard, and he can catch the ball. So, and he's just a solid kid, man. He's just a solid all-around kid. I really want to take – I feel comfortable, let's say, with the Craig Reynolds if Jamal Williams or DeAndre Swift does happen to go down.
I think clearly the most underrated player is the like button. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's not make it underrated. Right now it's flying under the radar. We need to go over the radar. So smash that like button. Let's get to at least 46 likes. We got 46 in the building. Time for you guys to run the show. It is time for you guys to tell us what to talk about. It is the mailbag time. If you got questions, we may have answers. It really just depends. So let us know with the hashtag Lions, hashtag LNU, hashtag FGB. That's what it's all about, folks. Let us know. Write me out. best time of the day. I like it because these guys tell us some interesting questions. Underrated. Will Harris, availability is the best ability, and he's been coached up. Underrated, okay. I think from the cornerback position, you could say that. I think he's overrated at any other position, and that's not
Yeah.
that's him just being on a team at the safety position is a little bit overrated. But I guess for versatility, I can get it. What do you think about that one, Anthony?
I don't think he's underrated, but I mean, again, at the same time, I'm just not sold. He's played a lot of snaps on this team, and you know, I can tell with players. You know, there's sometimes players in the past I've been a little bit critical of them, but I can tell when they get better, and I can see it when they get better. With him, I'm just not seeing him get better. Yes, he played all right at cornerback last year, but I mean, I don't think he's going to be anything more than a depth piece in there. I mean, if he played really well at corner last year, developed well, and if it hadn't been for the injury, then, he'd be a starter this year, straight out the gate. You're bringing Hughes in, who's coming off a really good year. You've got Amani, who's coming off his best year yet. I've got my starters really at corner, and those are the guys I want to put in there. And, I even if he's all right there, I just don't see him being more than a depth piece. And I'd rather go for some of the younger guys. But the staff see something in him. And we have seen more rookie development, more player development in one season with these guys than we did under Patricia in their 3 years. So I have to believe there's a reason for that. They seem to know what they're doing with the development of players. Well, I'll trust them. But personally, I just don't see it.
Ferg, it looks like you could definitely be on this panel with your hairdo right now. You're matching what we're doing. Same with you, Big West Connivin. A match with what we're doing here. Question, I think it's time to make a bet. Vegas has our Lions at 6.5 wins this year. Now, I would definitely throw in my sponsor on my channel, but I'm not going to do that until we get sponsored on here. But I will tell you, let's do some betting odds right now. If it's at 6.5, I am taking the over. I think the Detroit Lions will have more than 6.5 wins. 7 to 8. I think floor is 7. So if you are a betting person, make sure you go to my channel, see the person that sponsors me, and bet on it because I think you can win some money. Mark Oram, over and under on 6.5 wins.
You know what? I have this team at 6 to 9 wins. I think the floor is going to be 6 and the ceiling is going to be 9. I would probably bet that over, why not, man? Throw some money on there. I love the schedule. I love the way it looks. Now, we say that, but nothing is easy in Detroit, especially when it comes to Lions country. But if this team can at least double and then maybe add a couple more nice little wins there, for sure, man. I would definitely think about adding the over for sure. Let's do the over, man.
I already know Anthony here. He's going to say over. I think he has to be right. Like, you go under that.
Yeah. I will smash my bald head on the over button, and that's where we're going with it because we nearly got 6 wins last year with a much tougher schedule and a lot worse team. 3 field goals away from 6 wins. We are on an easier schedule this year, and our team is better. And I'm going to be very upset if we finish below that 6.5. Very upset.
Agree with you fully. Big West says, do you think Logan Stenberg and Austin Bryant get cut? I love this question, first off. I absolutely love this question. I think for Stenberg, it's possible he does. I think it is possible he gets cut. Austin Bryant, I hope not. Last year, he stayed healthy relatively, and he was starting to really make an impact on that defensive line. I'd like to see another year of Austin Bryant. I say he makes the team. We'll go Mark, and then we'll go Anthony. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, like a guy like Logan Stenberg, man, it's a guy that's been around. This new regime doesn't really have any ties to him. I'm really interested to see what they do with that Kevin Jarvis kid, the kid they picked up. I think he went to Michigan State. He could possibly beat him out. There's also Tommy Kramer's in the mix there for that other backup guard position. So Logan Stenberg, I know during camp they were trying to fit him in at center. They were trying to get him into some spots when Jonah Jackson went down with a little bit of an injury on his arm. So it looks like they're really trying to get him going, but he could be a guy that could get cut. And Austin Bryant, man, I've always been a big fan of Austin Bryant. He was a really solid player at Clemson. That was a really good defense, though, a few years back. But he was a guy that could get to the quarterback. He seems like another guy that is a little bit positionless. Is he a linebacker? Is he a defensive end? You know, I just like his style, though. I just like the way he plays the game. And I think he's a guy that could possibly break out. He's going to be a guy that's going to have he's going to have a tough time cracking this roster. He's probably the third or fourth defensive end coming off the bench or linebacker. I just really don't know where they're going to play him. So he's a possible cut for sure, but I still like him.
What do you think about those two, Anthony?
See, I'm kind of the opposite opinion from you for a change. Like, I mean, for Austin Bryant, for me, he's in the tougher room. There's a lot more depth battle going on at edge than there is at guard at the moment. And I think Austin Bryant could get lost in the shuffle. He's probably in competition with Julian at this point in time, I think. You know, him, Julian, you know, I think they might be fighting for a roster spot, and I think that Bryant may sort of lose out on that one there. The thing with me for Logan Stenberg, I've always been a big Logan Stenberg fan. Again, he was another one who, when we drafted him, I was quite excited by it. But for me, the telling thing is he's still here. There was a lot of, well, I sort of say a lot of, but there was negative press about him last year, about how he was performing and how he was doing, how he was developing. And that was, you know, when Dan Campbell got here, but they had a full off season with him. He's still here a year later. And his big problem coming out of college was his aggressiveness, some of his technique, the penalties. They were a really big problem in his game, and that sometimes takes a long time to fix on the practice field. So, you know, for me, if I'm not seeing him at the start of this season, then he might go. But I think they've been developing him over time, getting some of those bad habits out of his game. And I've actually seen, you know, praise about him recently. So I would not be surprised to see him come into this team this year as depth with Kramer and provide some good inside offensive line coverage for us. I think he'll stay, and I think he'll do well.
Bobo, the starting guards is Jonah Jackson and Big V. That is exactly who the starting guards are going to be. There's really no question on that one. Hashtag mail sack. Great hashtag, by the way. Will Motor City Dan Campbell win an Emmy Award for Hard Knocks this year? Probably not at all. He's not PG. I don't think that's going to happen. He's not that type of guy. But he's definitely going to make us proud with the way that he speaks, and that's exactly what we want. He's going to be straight up just going ahead and speaking his mind. Hashtag Puck the Fackers. Do a hashtag FGB. Why is that? Well, because I had a Green Bay Packer fan comment on my video, and it was a bunch of F-me's. So, he didn't like it so much. So let's show the love back into a hashtag FGB and show the love back to those good old Packer fans, because their time draws nigh. At some point, it's going to be the end of their era. At some point. What's going on, Antonio Jenkins? If you got a question, throw it in the comment section with a hashtag. That's how we see it. That's how we're able to answer the question. And that is how we see it. Why? Because I'm old, and it's hard to do that. So it is what it is. I see people think that 11-6, 6-11, 8 wins, 10 wins. So all over the place. We got 4-12. We'll see what they do. Again, I'm rolling with 7-8. I think that's a nice way to go for me. I don't want to drink the Honolulu Blue and Kool-Aid. And I also don't want to be Debbie Downer. Hashtag crying Rodgers. I love that. I live in Detroit. We'll win till the end of the Super Bowl. CR running back number 3. Okay, Craig Reynolds number 3. Do you think that Craig Reynolds should be number 3, Anthony?
See, this is a hard one for me because I'm a huge Jamar Jefferson fan. Again, and he was coming on really nicely until the Seahawks injured him last season. I mean, I think he got 2 touchdowns on his first 5 touches in the NFL. You know, he's a guy who's underrated because of his size, but his vision is next level, which is what sort of separated him out a bit. And you know, I just like to see Jamar and Craig fight that spot out. I love them both. You know, Mark was talking about Craig Reynolds earlier, being the underrated guy. The thing I love so much about Craig Reynolds is he balled out in preseason last year, and everyone was talking about him and thought he was going to get in the team. They got put on the practice squad, but did he whinge about it? Did he complain? No, he did not. He sat and he waited his turn. He came up to the team and he performed as soon as he came up here. That is the attitude you want from your players on this team. And I really appreciated that about him. But for me, him and Jamar are running back threes. I'm going to pair them together because I think they both offer something to this team. I like our running back four. I like our 4 running back room. You have sort of your running back one who's going to do the majority of the work in there, who's a dual threat. You've got Jamal Williams who's going to do the heavy yards in there, who's going to take the first snaps. I like him doing that. And then you've got your 2 young guys rotating in after, give you something a little bit different. So I just like the broom. I like the rotation. And I hope all 4 of them can stay healthy because behind our fully fit offensive line, we're going to cause havoc this year.
What do you think, Mark? Who's number 2
Yeah.
and 3?
Yeah, well, you know, I think Jamal Williams has got that number 2 locked down. I can't see anybody really beating him out, you know, especially he's coming. He's going to be on a contract year 2 as well. He lost some weight. I think he's ready to rock and roll. And personally, I do like both running backs too for that number 3 and number 4. I like Craig Reynolds. I like Jamar Jefferson. Like UK said, Jamar Jefferson has some really nice vision out there. A little bit of an underrated running back as well too. We could have thrown him in that running back room too as the underrated guy. But I like Craig Reynolds, man. I just like him a lot. He was a guy that, you know, that just doesn't open up his mouth. He never complained once last year. He's been a guy that's bounced around. He found a little bit of a spot in Detroit, came in there, produced. You know, I just like him a lot. And if we can keep, you know, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Craig Reynolds and Jamar as that 1, 2, 3, 4. That's even a bigger bonus because I think they can all cause problems, especially with the O line, like UK said. So I think the sky's the limit, but I do like Craig Reynolds as at least the number 3.
Do you think Aaron Glenn goes to another team as a head coach after this season, Anthony?
Not if the defense sucks again. And, you know, that's been, I'm being polite there because he had so many injuries last year and he was working with so little that what he did manage to do was a minor miracle. And like I say, the guys on the defensive line, they looked like they were getting better. You know, Amani had his best year, yet you could see how hard they were fighting. They were playing better than the sum of their parts, which is what a good coordinator does. And I really like that. This year, you know, we've stacked up on that defensive line, got a lot of talent on there. You know, our cornerback room is stacked. I'm going to expect to see a much better defense this year. I'm not saying top 10 or anything like that, but I'd like to see it in the late teens if possible, or you know, in the minimum in the upper 20s. If he wants to prove he's going to be a head coach, he has to show that he can do more than just make a bad unit work more than the sum of its parts. He's got to make a proper unit up and get it going. And if the Detroit defense does well this year, you know, keeps us in games, allows the offense, which will be our strength, to win us games, then oh yeah, he'll be off very quickly. But I think if we struggle again, I'm not buying it.
Do you think that Aleem gets an offensive touchdown, Mark?
Nah, like I heard they were talking about possibly putting him at the fullback position in some goal line situations, but you know, he really wants to carry the football, I guess. You know, like every D lineman that I've ever played with, man, they want to carry the football. I don't think he's going to. I don't know, maybe if they're up by a couple scores, it could happen late in the game, but I'm going to say no.
Can we move Godwin Igwafumble back to his original position as safety, considering he's not going to make the team as a running back? Was he that bad at safety that he had to be moved? I don't think he's going to get moved back personally. Anthony, what do you think?
No, you don't move him back. There is a reason he's been moved from safety to running back. You're not going to just transfer him back to you and have a starter level player out of him. It's when you're moving players around like that, trying to shoehorn them in when you know there's not really a position for them, that he's just, for me, he's got to go. He had his opportunity last year. The ball security is poor. His returning's decent, but when you're coughing up the ball so much, it's just not good. But I'm not a fan of just moving players around all these positions, trying to see if it works. What if he's taking snaps off Kirby Joseph or Deshaun Elliott or someone else? It's just going to hurt your team in the long run. There's a reason he ain't playing safety.
Who do you think returns KO after they cut Godwin? I'm not understanding the KO one.
Kickoff, maybe kick return. I'd say Khalif Raymond, maybe.
Khalif Raymond.
Yeah. Pimpleton. I think Pimpleton will make this team as a returner. I think he's the best returner that we'll have. I think he'll beat out a wide receiver and make this squad.
That'd be nice. That'd be different.
Who you guys got doing the punt and kickoff return? Kind of just answered that there for you. Just watch the Lions video. How much smaller is Rodriguez than Barnes? Looked the same height to me. I don't know exactly the height for Barnes, but Rodriguez is 5'11".
Yeah, Barnes is about 6 foot or 6'1", maybe. He's about 6'1". He's got about probably 15 pounds on him, though. Barnes, I would say 10, 15.
Okay, so
about
an inch shorter and sausage bigger. A little bit right there.
The sausage bigger. Yeah, sure.
Dana says, what's more important, a top 5 head coach or a top 5 coaching room? Dang, Alan Dana, that's a sick question, by the way. I love it. Go ahead, Anthony.
I would say if you've got a top 5 coaching room, I don't think you need to be a top 5 head coach. I think you can be a decent head coach. For me, it's like Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell knows he can't do it all. And that's the good thing about him. He doesn't try and take on all the responsibility like, he who shall not be named did, who just ruled everything. Campbell knows what he's good at, and then he delegates what he knows he's not good at, and it works. So for me, I'd take the top 5 coaching room because, I say, you don't need a top 5 head coach if you've got that. For me.
Yeah, what do you think, Mark?
No, I think the same thing, man. Like, we know that Dan Campbell's not the X's and O's type guy. He's not going to be that guy that is going to completely take over everything. He needs some guys surrounding him. He needs some coaches that are going to, literally tell him what needs to be done here. So if you can have a top 5 coaching room, for sure here, I think is more bonus than anything right there. So top 5 coaching room for me, for sure.
AG or Deuce will replace Motor City Dan Campbell if they on. I want Motor City Dan Campbell here for life. Yeah, I think he's going to be here for a long time. That's my opinion on it. I think we got a pretty good head coach for sure. I think that AG will probably end up getting another job next year. I have a feeling the defense will take a nice step forward. It's not like it was great last year, so I think they're going to do a step forward. And Deuce Staley is underrated as well. He's very underrated. If they missed your question, repost it with a hashtag up for 100%, folks. I'm not intentionally trying to miss questions. If I miss it, just repost it. I always say do a copy and paste. Sometimes they come in fast and furious. Sometimes they're a little bit slower like today. But again, if I miss it, just repost it. Hashtag FGB. Thank you, Ted Coleman. Do you think the D-line can make a difference and make the poor linebackers a little less cheeks? Always. I think if you have a really good defensive line, it makes the rest of the defense look better. The linebackers, of course, as well as the secondary, because you're putting pressure on that quarterback and you help clogging up the run. Now, linebackers there, they'll have an opportunity to make a better play. It's simple as that. I don't know how much better it's going to be. You still got to have some decent linebackers. This is why you got to subscribe to Aurora Lions UK, because they had a debate on this yesterday about the cheeks of the linebacking core, how it's not that good. I do believe the defensive line can cure some of the deficiencies, but not all of them, Anthony.
No, I think for me, and I've said this a while now, this all comes down to how do you utilize your linebackers. I said that there's not one linebacker we have that deserves starter level snaps yet, whether they be rookies, special teams guys who ain't proven it, or whether they're senior guys who really shouldn't be taking them. But you have a room where you have different weapons available to you. Like Jared Davis. He's good against the run. He's good when he's rushing the passer. I mean, there was a debate about this yesterday, and in the limited times he rushes the passer, actually gets really good success there. Barnes, when we drafted Barnes from Purdue, Barnes is all about the blitz. He is a blitzing linebacker. He is not a coverage linebacker. And what did we do last year? We sat him in coverage where he's no good. So you play him as a blitzer, especially now that you've got the defensive line. You have the assets to use your linebackers, your blitzing linebackers, to go through and cause havoc. And therefore, you cover up the deficiencies in the coverage aspect of it. You know, Malcolm Rodriguez, he's going to start very quickly. He's great against the run. Was it 13 forced fumbles in the last 2 seasons? The guy makes plays and makes turnovers if you use him to his strengths. Don't have him there marking big ass tight ends and stuff like that, where he's going to struggle. Bring him up against the run and be aggressive. And that's the key to this season. Our linebacking group will be fine, just fine, not great, if you use them to the best of their ability. If you're passive and leave them, they're going to be terrible. If you're aggressive and use them at what they're good at and rotate them in and out on a situational basis as to when you can use them, I think they'll actually surprise a few people. And that's where I sit at with them.
No more 3rd and 13 rush, 3 whiffs this year. Yeah, I agree, man. That stuff was driving me ape. I concur with that. I think it did get better, though, by the halfway through the season. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Did Mike get a haircut to re-list in the Army? I tell you what, once you're in the Army, it's pretty hard to get away from that lifestyle. Matter of fact, not only do when I cut my hair, it always goes down all the way down. My wife's a barber. So it happens quite a bit to where if I shave my head, I'm going all the way down because I don't like hair. But like everything's Army, man. I tell you what, even if I was in it for 8 years and it feels like it was yesterday. I haven't been in Iraq since 2008. So even though it's been that long, it feels like it's every single day. So, but yeah, I love my short hair. I don't like hair. Hard question here. Hashtags tacos, spaghetti, or chicken wings. Yeah, dang it, man. Mark, what do you got here?
Oh boy, man, you're talking to the right guy for this one, man. I'll go chicken wings, baby. I'll go chicken wings, bone in, all day.
What about you, Anthony?
Out of those, I'm a spaghetti fan, but I'm like an hour and a half's flight away from the spaghetti capital of the world. I've been down to the Med quite a lot, and you can't beat a nice bowl of spaghetti, a fresh tomato sauce. The Italians do it just right. So
I love, man, tacos. I'm not gonna lie. I love having tacos. But all 3 are delicious to me.
Yeah,
Have them quite a bit actually at my house. So we like Taco Tuesday. Hashtag other than Lions. Who you rooting for to win the Super Bowl? Oof. That's hard. I only root for the Lions. I don't have really another team I root for in the NFL. It's like, who do I not want to go to the Super Bowl? That's more the question there. I can answer that one. Packers, the Dallas Cowboys. Those are the teams, the Rams. What about you, Mark?
Well, I'm also a Giants fan, so I always root for my Giants, but they're just as bad. So they're a real bad football team. And other than that, man, I kind of have a little bit of a place on my heart for the Buffalo Bills. So probably the Bills, man, most likely to win it over the Lions or the Giants. So I guess the Bills.
What about you, Anthony?
See, I was a big fan of the Bengals' run last year purely because they come from a similar situation we've been in, and they've shown that if you get the right coach, if you get the right players in, then you can make a Super Bowl. So, I want to see teams that have struggled over the years maybe a little bit getting their day in the sun, because I know that we can do it now. And so that's kind of who I go for. I always root for the underdogs. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I root for the underdogs. My football team, they're a small team. They're an underdog. So I just seem to naturally gravitate towards them.
I think I'm that way too. I will root for the underdog if it's not in there. But again, it's like, I don't really have another. Like, you don't ask me right now. It's Detroit or bust for me. That's what I want. Should we be a top 5 running game? If not, why? No, we're not going to be a top 5 because we actually have weapons on offense that's not running game. And I think they're going to be evenly balanced, and that's going to result in not having a top 5 running game. If you've seen last year, we started getting aggressive with Ben Johnson. I think it was obviously better running last year than we probably have in the last decade. But since Matthew Stafford carried this offense, it's not saying a whole lot. I think it's still going to be a half-half this season. So, no, not top five. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. I think we have the talent to be a top five running, like as a whole unit, as a 4 or 5 running backs if we need to use them. But like Mike said, this is going to be a mixed bag. We're going to be throwing the ball a lot. They put some capital into guys like Jameson Williams coming here, eventually playing, and then like DJ Chark. And you got a lot of weapons going around aerial attack. So weapons wise, or like talent wise, I mean to say yes, but I don't think it's going to happen. No.
Anthony?
I think we have the potential to be. It depends how we utilize it, because we've got the full offensive line this year. You've got Ragnow in there, obviously. You've got Sewell in there now. That I think we might use it a bit more. I think maybe last year we were sort of forced into passing it a little bit more at times, especially when Anthony Lynn was running that god awful offense when he couldn't run the ball to save his life. I think that we might utilize it. But like I say, we've got a very varied running back room. So I think there's a lot you can do with that. I'd like to see more 2-back sets in there and sort of throw the surprise in a little bit more, and maybe go, because people might be expecting us to throw it more with Chark and when JMO's fit and when Amon-Ra's in there. But these guys can block as well, so you can form an effective running game with them. And at the end of the day, if you get the running game going, you control the clock, you stay on the pitch. It's still a vital part of going forward, and we have the assets to do that now. That was the problem last year. The defense was good, but it was on the pitch all the time. And there's only so much it can deal with. So I'd like to see us use it more. And I think potentially, we do. We've got a top 5 offensive line, so why can't the running backs behind it produce?
Simple. I love it. I love the run game. That's how you win, especially in the fourth quarter. You control the clock, and you just make defenses pay. That's why I love Derrick Henry and the Titans when they just maul people. There's just, it's happening, but there's nothing you can do about it. And that is a success for winning, especially when it's colder out. And I love the run game. What draft pick do you feel is overhyped the most by far the fan base, and will that pick live up to the hype? This one to me is absolutely easy. The most overhyped person, in my opinion, is Malcolm Rodriguez. I don't know the absolute hype. Like, this guy went from being – look, I get it. I think he's talented. I just think I'm getting told this guy is going to be in the Pro Bowl. This guy is going to be the leader on defense right away. Whoa. We got to crawl before we can walk here. I think he's going to, just like he said, he's going to start on special teams. He'll get implemented in there. I think that's just how they operate. So my expectations for him is much lower, in my opinion, but that's not bad at all. It's just what I expect the Detroit Lions to do. Now, if there's a mass amount of injuries, I'd love to see him out there. I prefer the younger players over the veterans because I feel that's the future of this football team. Mark, what about you?
No, I think it's the same thing, Mike. I think it's Malcolm Rodriguez. And before I go on, I love the kid. I think I think he was super productive at Oklahoma State. But yes, he slipped to the 6th round, probably due to his size, maybe because he did play in the Big 12, but he is productive. But you're hearing guys like fan base going, this guy's the next Chris Spielman, this guy's the next Luke Kuechly, and I'm like, okay, we need to just maybe time out a little bit on this kid. When they drafted him, they were looking at him. Dave Phipp was very excited that he was going to be in their special teams room. Now, you look at it on another level and you go, well, look at this linebacker room. This is a really, really bad linebacker room. Could he beat out a guy like Chris Board? Could he beat out Derek Barnes? There's a possibility that he could.
Yep.
I think Derek Barnes is a developing linebacker, but I also think Malcolm Rodriguez is a developing linebacker because you have to remember where Malcolm Rodriguez played his first 2 years in college. He was a safety, and then he played his last 2 years as a linebacker at Oklahoma State. So I do like the future for Malcolm Rodriguez. I think he's going to be a big part of this defense, but we just need to maybe just temper expectations a little bit on him because they're talking to him up, man, like he's the next Ray Lewis. And we just need to be careful with that. You
I
need
know
to be
it's
careful
going to
with that.
make
I
him
like
look
him though.
bad, and you don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
the first time he goes out there and there's a running back that turns him into a pretzel, people are going to be like, "Oh my God, I thought this guy was supposed to be
Bust.
Ray Lewis." It's not the case,
It's
man. You
like
got to be
saying
careful.
like
I like
Amon-Ra
him though.
St. Brown's the next Megatron. Whoa,
Yeah,
just chill, man. Like I love
a little
Amon-Ra
bit.
St. Brown, but that's
Yeah.
killing his hype. What about you, UK?
Um, See, I'm different. I think it's Kirby Joseph. I think Kirby Joseph is getting a lot of hype from this fan base, and I think he's getting a lot of hype because people are desperate for a safety, especially after the whole argument that went on with Kyle Hamilton and everything. And should we go after him? And we passed on him when we went for JMO. I think people are trying to convince themselves that he is the next coming. We found ourselves an absolute steal at safety, and we didn't have to go after one of those big guys. And don't get me wrong, I don't like talking smack about the rookies. I love all the picks we've made, to be fair. And I think given the right development, Kirby Joseph is going to be very good for this team. But he is entering a room which is bare on talent. And he's probably going to be thrust into a lot of action this season against some top caliber quarterbacks. And, it's a massive jump up in opposition for him. And I'm just a little wary that the expectations are too big for him there. Because again, secondary has been ripe for picking the last few years. And if people start throwing on him, he starts giving up because he's known for a bit of ball hawk. He's known for getting the interceptions. Again, like with Rodriguez, I think people could turn on him very quickly. And, it's not his fault. I just think people are that determined to think that we've got the safety of the future and we've sorted it, that they're kind of overlooking that he's got a lot of work to do yet. So for me, that's him.
I stress be patient with rookies. Don't
Yeah.
crucify rookies year one. These guys are young, and some people learn quicker than others. So just be patient with these guys. We seen what a Futu Malfano. To me, this guy is a stud, but you have to be patient. He's going to have ups and downs. We seen that last year. It's just that's the way it is. Who gets more receiving yards, Shark or St. Brown? I think St. Brown gets more receiving yards, in all honesty. I think he does, but I love DJ Shark to have some big plays if he can stay healthy. We got Luke G's Field Review in the building. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Luke G from Luke G's Field Review. We're going to have him on the show. And it's going to get hot, that's for sure. So just an FYI, it's going to get ruckus, as you all know. No one loves wide receivers like Lions fans. Yeah, well, definitely, wide receivers are the greatest thing, man, that there is. What we should do is draft 55 wide receivers in a row. Just have a whole team full of wide receivers.
That as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, in fairness, more often than not, we land on them.
I know.
It's historically
Even
one of
free
the.
agency.
It's historically one of the better positions. Even Cephas in round 5, the way he started last year, it was like he was well worthy of that pick. So I think it's one area of the draft where we can actually get excited by when we get receivers because we seem to know what we're doing, and we've got a pretty damn good wide receivers coach training them as well. So.
Hashtag Rodriguez, Antelope Barnes, Houston Davis, and Julian Akwara playing in a 4-3 defense with a lot of sub packages, only using 2 linebackers, which these players do you feel will be cut of all these players? It's tough.
Davis, maybe Davis.
And
See,
Julian, I think UK would say that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working off, well, I'll say bias, but it will be Davis and Julian for me, but I really like Rodriguez and I really like Houston. And I'm not the one who's saying Rodriguez is going to be the next Luke Keithley, but I sort of stuck up for him because a lot of people have hyped him, but a lot of people have dismissed him because he's a round 6 pick and he's not going to do anything. And his size, his arms, it's rubbish. He's a state wrestling champion. He can win against guys who are bigger than him. He's got the productivity, and the Big 12 was a good Big 12 last year with some good teams in it, and they won it. So, I see a future there for him. I don't think he's going to be amazing right away, but him and James Houston, I like his availability at edge and linebacker. I think he's very versatile, is what they're looking for. I think long term, for us, those two are the best. So I'm inherently biased to go that way towards them, whereas Davis and Akwara, I don't think they are.
Do you want new blue or black helmet for the Lions? Me, blue or get a blue face man. It's so funny. I had this conversation yesterday. I had this conversation with UK before we went live. I just got this hat, man. Just got this hat. I
Sweet.
like that black.
I have taken a lot of abuse on Twitter today for putting up bring back the black uniforms. A lot of people have agreed with me, but a lot of people have not as well. So it's a very sore subject to me. Personally, I think they're fire. I think they're a lot better than the old greys, and we need to bring them back right away. So
Besides
just redesign
Hockenson,
them a bit.
which team or which tight end makes the team Mark Orem from Orem's Forum?
Yeah, well, obviously Hockenson, yeah, for sure. James Mitchell, the 5th-round pick, he's going to make it. He was a draft pick. I think he's a real versatile kid that can do a lot for this team. He'll make it. I personally like Shane Zylstra. I like him a lot, man. I think he's mainly a receiving type tight end. He was a hell of a wide receiver in college, man, and he's a bigger dude. So I like him. You're going to see probably Brock Wright has a really good shot. So for sure, Hawk. Then you're going to have, I don't know about Garrett Griffin making his team. He's strictly a blocking guy, but they do prioritize that. But Hawk, Zylstra, and Mitchell for sure, I think are going to make this team.
100 good supporting people in the chat. Please like and subscribe. Absolutely. And make sure you go to the Roar to Lions UK and subscribe to his channel and Mark Orem from Orem's Forum and subscribe to their personal YouTube channels. Obviously here, but make sure you support the channels. We're trying to change a narrative here in Detroit, and it's YouTubers like these guys that help do it. Subscribe. What game are you guys looking forward to? Well, I'm looking forward to week 1 for sure, but I'm really excited for Miami Dolphins and Detroit Lions. Speed versus speed. I've been talking about this game. I love it, and I think it's going to be fun. What game are you looking forward to, UK?
Well, I'm with you. I'm really looking forward to week 1 because that is going to be the barometer of where this team is at. You know, it's going to tell us a hell of a lot about what's going to happen on this season. But for me, I don't know. I'm looking forward and I'm dreading the Bears games. We are much better than them now. And we need to put down a statement this season and sweep them, because if we lose to that god-awful side, we're in trouble. So I'm looking forward to us putting 2 beatings down on them and saying, you know, you're at the bottom now, we're on our way up. Get out the way.
We're in a big competition at Chas Sports on my channel with Chas Sports and Harrison Graham. He's the Chicago Bears guy. We going back at it. We got to beat the Bears this year, okay? There's a lot of competition going on. I would freaking love it. So we got to win that game just so I can rub it in his face. Folks, we've been on for over an hour. Appreciate everybody getting on. It was absolutely fun. We got Roar to Lions UK. We got my guy Anthony. We got Mark Orem from Orem's Forum. Mark Orem, my guy here, getting on. We're also going to be on Thursday. We're going to, as of now, Herman Chrissy is going to be on. Looks like Luke G is going to be on. We're going to be talking some Detroit Lions football. What do you got to say, Anthony, while we close this bad boy out?
Just general thanks to everybody. I mean, to you, Mike, you've shouted out our show about 5 or 6 times on this now, but you know, we only aspire to be half as good as what you are. Your chat with Microbike is one of the best Detroit Lions podcasts going, and you know, you do a hell of a job. You do a hell of a job doing this for Lions Nation Unite as well, and I am privileged to come on here and be able to chat with you, because you honestly, you are great at what you do. So shout out to you, shout out to Mark as well, you know, for coming on here, and to everyone in the chat. I love doing this. It's midnight here at the minute, but am I thinking about going to bed? No. I just love coming up and chatting Detroit Lions with all of you. So just a big shout out to the entire community. You are all amazing.
Times could potentially change. Just an FYI, I want to help out Anthony too and the guys in the UK. So times potentially could change. Mark Orem, what do you got to say? We close this bad boy out.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Anthony, man. It was awesome, man. You guys are great. Thanks, everybody in the chat, man. This is great. We got training camp coming right around the corner, literally, I think, under 2 weeks now. So let's get this thing going. I can't wait to talk about more Lions. We got Lions content coming out on LNU, on my channel as well. So we're going to have some good times here. And who's that guy right there, man? That guy looks as he's an imposter. Get rid of him. And then, so, yeah, we're going to have a good time, man. I put videos out on my channel, Orem's Forum. go check them out. I love to talk Detroit Lions, baby. Let's do it.
Hey, we appreciate all the Mark Worms showing up in the building today. We appreciate Anthony coming in here. Everybody in the chat, hey, see you on Thursday. It will be at 6:30. As of now, it could change, but I'll let you know if it does.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me